Someone taught you the rules. Maybe it was your parents. Maybe it was your school. Maybe it was the culture around you, the neighborhood, the community, the unspoken agreements about how money works and what people like you can realistically expect from it. And you followed the rules responsibly, consistently. You did what you were supposed to do. You worked hard. You paid your bills. You tried to save something. You avoided what seemed risky. You stayed practical. You stayed realistic. And yet here you are, following the rules. And the rules are not working. Warren Buffett has spent 94 years studying exactly why some people build extraordinary wealth and most people don't. And his conclusion is not what most people expect. He does not blame laziness. He does not blame lack of opportunity. He does not blame external circumstances. He blames the rules. Specifically, the 7 money rules that most ordinary people are taught from childhood and follow faithfully their entire lives. Rules that feel completely reasonable. Rules that sound like wisdom. Rules that are almost universally accepted as responsible financial behavior. Rules that are quietly and systematically keeping millions of people financially stuck. Today I am going to show you all 7, not to make you angry at the people who taught them to you, they believed them too, but to show you clearly why each rule fails, what it costs you, and what Buffett does instead, because you cannot follow better rules until you can clearly see the ones you are already following. Rule 7 is the one that will hit you the hardest. I am not telling you which one it is yet, but stay until the end, because Rule 7 is the one most deeply embedded, the one that feels most like truth, and the one that is costing you the most. This is the first rule most people learn about money. Save. Put money aside. Build up what you have. And over time, the savings will accumulate into something meaningful. And saving is not wrong. Buffett saves. He has saved consistently his entire life. The habit of not spending everything that comes in is genuinely important and genuinely rare. But saving alone, keeping money in accounts that barely grow, treating the accumulation of saved dollars as the primary wealth-building strategy, does not build wealth. It builds a slightly larger pile of slowly eroding purchasing power. Here is the math that exposes the problem. Inflation averages roughly 3% per year historically. A standard savings account returns somewhere between 0 and 2% in most environments, which means money sitting in savings is losing real value every single year. The number goes up. The purchasing power goes down, and the gap between what you saved and what you need compounds in the wrong direction over time. Buffett does not save to become wealthy. He saves to invest. The saving is not the strategy. It is the preparation for the strategy. The money that comes out of spending becomes the raw material for something that actually grows. Investment, ownership, assets that generate returns that outpace inflation and compound over time. The rule you were taught, save money to become wealthy, is missing the most important word. Save money to invest it. Without the investment, the saving is just delayed spending with a worse outcome due to inflation. This rule feels like the blueprint for a secure financial life. Find a stable employer, work hard, demonstrate value, get promoted, build a career, and over decades the income will increase and the security will compound. And careers are not wrong. Most people need employment. Most people start with employment. The income a job provides is real and necessary, but the rule contains a hidden assumption that almost nobody examines. It assumes that working your way up inside an employment structure will eventually produce the financial freedom most people actually want. And for the vast majority of people, including people who execute this rule perfectly, it does not. Here is why. Employment income has a ceiling. That ceiling is set by the market rate for the role, the budget of the organization, and the leverage the employee has in negotiation. No matter how good you are, no matter how much value you create, you will hit that ceiling. And the ceiling of even an exceptional career in most fields falls significantly short of genuine financial freedom. Buffett worked for others briefly early in his career, and he recognized immediately that the structure of employment, even excellent, well-compensated employment, was not the path to what he was trying to build. Not because the income was not real, but because the income was linear, fixed to hours and performance within a bounded structure, not compounding, not ownership, not something that grew while he was not working. He left employment and built something of his own, not because he was reckless, but because he could see clearly that the rule was taking him somewhere different from where he wanted to go. The rule you were taught, get a good job and work your way up, is useful for funding today. It is not a strategy for building genuine financial freedom. That requires something outside the job that the job's income helps to build. This rule sounds like pure wisdom. Debt is dangerous. Debt has destroyed financial lives. Avoid it. Stay out of it. Pay it off as fast as possible and never go back. And consumer debt, credit cards, car loans for vehicles you cannot afford, borrowing money to buy things that depreciate and disappear, that category of debt should absolutely be avoided. Buffett agrees completely. High-interest consumer debt is one of the most reliable wealth destruction mechanisms that exists. But the rule, as most people received it, is broader than that. It says avoid debt entirely, and that broader version misses something critical that wealthy people understand and use. Debt used to acquire assets that generate returns higher than the cost of borrowing is not destruction. It is acceleration. Borrowed money used to buy something that earns more than the interest costs creates a positive spread that builds wealth faster than cash alone could. Buffett has used debt strategically his entire career, not recklessly, not carelessly, with careful calculation of the spread between borrowing cost and return. When he can borrow at a rate lower than what the borrowed money can generate, he borrows, and the difference compounds in his favor. The rule you were taught, avoid debt at all costs, protects you from the worst category of debt while preventing you from understanding and potentially using the best category. The replacement rule is more nuanced. Avoid debt that finances consumption. Consider debt that finances assets generating returns above the borrowing cost. The distinction is everything. In most households and most cultures, money is a private subject. You do not discuss your income. You do not ask others about theirs. You do not talk openly about debt, about financial mistakes, about what things actually cost or what you are actually earning or what you are genuinely worth. Money is kept quiet, personal. Behind closed doors, this rule feels like respect, like privacy, like appropriate modesty about financial matters, but it has a devastating practical consequence. It means that most people navigate one of the most complex and consequential areas of their lives in almost complete isolation, without honest information about what others earn, without the benefit of other people's financial mistakes being shared and learned from, without the open conversation that would allow patterns to become visible, the patterns of what works and what doesn't, what decisions produce good outcomes and what produced bad ones. Buffett talks about money constantly, not to brag, to learn, to think, to refine. His letters to Berkshire Hathaway shareholders are extraordinary documents, detailed, honest, transparent about mistakes as well as successes. His conversations with young people about wealth are open and specific. He has built an entire public record of his thinking about money because he understands that clarity about money requires honest conversation about money. The rule you were taught, don't talk about money, has kept you isolated in a complex subject where isolation is expensive. The replacement is not to broadcast your finances to everyone. It is to find the right people, mentors, partners, communities with whom honest financial conversation is possible, and to have those conversations actively and openly. This is possibly the most widely believed money rule in the world. Buy a home. It always goes up. It is the cornerstone of financial security, the best investment most people will ever make. And homes have value. Buffett owns a home. He has lived in the same one since 1958 and does not regret the purchase. A home provides stability, a fixed housing cost, and in many markets, genuine appreciation over time. But calling it your best investment contains a set of assumptions that most people never examine. First, a home you live in does not generate income. It generates housing, which you would otherwise pay rent for. So the comparison is not home versus cash investment. It is home ownership versus renting while investing the difference. And that calculation is more complex and more location specific than the rule acknowledges. Second, the total cost of home ownership is almost always significantly higher than people calculate. Mortgage interest, property taxes, insurance, maintenance, repairs, renovation. When these are added to the purchase price and compared against the eventual sale price, the actual return on a primary residence is often significantly lower than the stock market would have produced over the same period. Buffett has made this point explicitly. He has said that his home has been a reasonable purchase, but that the same money invested in the stock market over the same period would have produced significantly more wealth. He values his home for what it provides: stability, a consistent fixed cost, the life lived in it, not as his primary investment vehicle. The rule you were taught, a home is your best investment, is incomplete at best and misleading at worst. A home can be a good financial decision depending on circumstances. It is not automatically your best investment. and treating it as such while underinvesting in assets that actually compound can cost enormously over decades. Safety feels like wisdom when it comes to money. Do not take risks. Do not gamble. Do not put your financial security in jeopardy chasing returns that might not materialize. Keep your money safe and it will be there when you need it. And recklessness with money is genuinely destructive. Buffett's first rule is never lose money. He is one of the most conservative major investors in history in terms of protecting against permanent capital loss. But the rule, as most people received it, conflates two completely different things. It conflates recklessness, taking uninformed, undisciplined, emotionally driven risks with money you cannot afford to lose, with calculated, informed, patient investment in genuinely good assets at sensible prices. Playing it safe in the recklessness sense is wise. Playing it safe in the investment sense, keeping money in savings accounts and low-return vehicles to avoid the discomfort of market volatility, is not safety. It is a guaranteed slow loss of purchasing power disguised as caution. Buffett takes significant calculated risks. He puts large amounts of capital into concentrated positions in businesses he has studied deeply and believes in strongly. This looks risky from the outside, but he understands that the real risk is not short-term price volatility. The real risk is permanent loss of capital. And for a genuinely great business bought at a sensible price and held patiently, the risk of permanent loss is very low. The risk of not participating in its compounding growth is much higher. The rule you were taught, play it safe with your money, is protecting you from the wrong thing. It is protecting you from the discomfort of volatility, while exposing you to the much more expensive risk of your money not growing enough to keep pace with what you will need it to do. This is the deepest rule, the one most thoroughly embedded, the one that feels most like fundamental truth because it has been reinforced by virtually every authority figure, every institution, every cultural message that shaped you. Work hard, be disciplined, be responsible, give your best, and the rewards will come. Financial security, a comfortable life, the reasonable expectation that effort will be met with appropriate return. Buffett does not dispute the value of hard work. He has worked with extraordinary dedication his entire life. But he has observed something across 9 decades that completely reframes what hard work means in the context of building wealth. Hard work applied to the wrong system does not produce wealth. It produces exhaustion within the system. Most people are working extraordinarily hard inside systems specifically designed to capture the surplus their effort creates. The employment system pays people enough to keep them working and captures the rest as profit. The consumer economy offers compelling ways to spend whatever is left. The financial system provides products, savings accounts with negligible returns, insurance products with embedded fees, debt products that create the appearance of purchasing power that extract value quietly over time. Within this system, working harder produces more income. More income disappears into the system. The net financial position improves marginally or not at all. And the hardest working people, the ones who followed the rule most faithfully, often arrive at retirement with less security than their decades of dedicated labor should have produced. Buffett's replacement for this rule is specific. Work hard, but work hard, building something that you own, something that compounds, something where the surplus your effort creates stays with you rather than being captured by the system around you. Work hard developing skills that expand what is possible rather than skills that maintain what already exists. Work hard protecting the mental clarity and decision-making quality that produces better outcomes across decades. Not less hard, differently hard, toward a different destination, one that the system does not automatically redirect toward its own benefit. Rule 1. Save money to become wealthy. Buffett's replacements. Save money to invest it. Saving without investing is delayed spending with inflation eating the difference. Rule 2. Get a good job and work your way up. Buffett's replacement. Use the job's income to build something outside the job that the job alone can never provide. Rule 3. Avoid debt at all costs. Buffett's replacement. Avoid debt that finances consumption. Consider debt that finances assets generating returns above the borrowing cost. Rule 4. Don't talk about money. Buffett's replacement. Find the right people and have honest, specific financial conversations that produce learning and clarity. Rule 5. A home is your best investment. Buffett's replacement. A home provides housing and stability, but rarely your best financial return. Build a portfolio alongside it. Rule 6. Play it safe with your money. Buffett's replacement. Avoid recklessness, but embrace calculated, informed, patient investment in genuinely good assets. Rule 7. Work hard and you will be rewarded. Buffett's replacement. Work hard building something you own, where the surplus stays with you and compounds over time. 7 rules. All of them felt like wisdom when you received them. All of them have been quietly limiting your financial life in ways that are now visible. You cannot change a rule you cannot see, but you can see them now. And seeing them clearly, understanding exactly what each one is costing and exactly what to replace it with, is the beginning of a completely different financial trajectory. Start with the rule that hit you the hardest. Find the one that most clearly explains why your current financial position is not where your efforts should have taken you. Question it. Replace it. Apply the replacement for 1 year, because the life your hard work deserves is on the other side of the rules that were never designed to give it to you. Go find it.